Hey Tubes, Jonathan's wrong. Truth and budget. This is the undercover cop angle, I guess. They must put it looks like mid dashboard because that's about where the camera is. I mean, central console dash. Anyway, just wanted to talk about something random real quick. So, the whole, kind of back to the whole mud flood, Tartaria thing. So, real quick about Tartaria. So, old maps sometimes are just old maps. Mapping was a business. People could make money selling maps. So there's a lot of old maps that aren't entirely accurate. They're just they're just made during the map craze. As far as Tartaria goes, that's just the land of the Tartar. I've seen things where they say, oh, here it is. They have Tartaria has a royal flag, and it's it's like it's a griffin or something. The griffin would not be the royal symbol of some great it'd either be an eagle or more specifically a double-headed eagle, or a dragon. Would never be a griffin. The griffin is the standard animal of the horseman tribes of the East, such as the Tartars. So all evidence I've seen about Tartaria being the ancient culture and all that, and that's the thing. It's not. That's just old maps being lazy and not really knowing what is up all the way north, and just being like, all right, the Tartars rule that area, so that's all Tartar land. So the whole Tartaria thing, that is 100% a red herring. That is just to deflect from the real thing, which is these buildings. Now the mud flood buildings, whatever they are or why or whatever, are 100% real. Those things do exist. They all have a very similar architecture, and they always have they're always partially buried at an awkward angle, and you can always see windows and stuff, or doors even being buried. And you would not design windows to go underground, because why would you do that? So there's just a recurring theme of these buildings, and the fact that they're always destroyed. They always succumb to a fire or are bombed, specifically like they're directly hit during a war. And they're destroying a lot of them. The ones that they don't destroy all happen to be government buildings. Be it castles or the one in Boston there. But so as far as like what is up with those, I don't know. Why are they partially buried? What happened? How old are they? Were they uncovered post flood and then maintained? Who knows? As far as a recent catastrophe, that there just hasn't, they're like, not in the way of like the flood, like the deluge, like not like that. But as far as something big happening, who knows? I mean, they could change history very easily. They have. We have no idea what year it is, what day of the week it is. But there is something up 100% with the mud flood buildings and the star forts as well. Those are a thing. As far as what, like I said, I don't know. I'm going to have to dig a little deeper on that. But Tartaria, 100% not. That's a red herring. But you can look into it. It's very interesting because you'll notice all the buildings are they'll call them they'll refer to them as Beaux Art sometimes, but sometimes they'll predate I think that was the early mid 1800s. But there's buildings older than that, and then they'll refer to them as Greek or a different. I don't know. Either way, like I said, there's 100% a cover-up. No one else except the elites are allowed to access those buildings. And if they're not under 100% control, they are destroyed. It's been proven that the elites have no problem destroying information because they have it all written down somewhere anyway. So as far as like destroying historical things and stuff, I think there's a few that they're just kind of afraid to, because there's always a fear. Kind of like how the astronauts won't swear in the Bible. Even though they're all high-ranking Freemasons and liars, they will not swear in the Bible. So within these people, there's still always a fear of God, which I think is very interesting. I think a lot of them probably plan to just try to repent on their deathbeds, try to accept Jesus Christ, right before they die. Like I've said before, I'm not sure it can work that way. I mean, at the same time, it'd be a huge victory and like a huge FU to Satan. At the same time, to take one of his favorite his favorite little pawns, and instead of them being dragged to hell, they're redeemed. And if you think about it, if said person truly did have a heart, did truly have feelings, and wasn't just trying to like get out of going to hell, they would be extremely grateful. That would be a powerful knight of Christ indeed. If someone as horrible as Aleister Crowley or Anton LaVey or Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. That was kind of in like cascading order of like worse to like less worse. I guess. I don't know. I feel kind of bad for Jeffrey Dahmer. I think stuff happened to him, and he was just sexually weird, and just couldn't. I mean, he said it himself. If there's no repercussions, if life doesn't matter, then like do whatever. So he just thought it was okay to like try to make sex slaves because he didn't want to try to have a connection with anyone, because he just the whole ordeal just made him sick inside. I mean, I'm not condoning anything he did at all. I'm just saying it was, life was hard for poor Jeffrey. But he also did some sick stuff to some very young men. I think one was like 14. But anyway, enough about that dark stuff. I don't know, he says he'll accept anybody, so obviously he will. Oh, which brings me on to something else. I don't like it when other Christians try to say that the Bible's not literal, and that it's just something that we take bits and pieces. We're just supposed to interpret some, take some parts with a grain of salt, and then it just doesn't make sense that a God of truth and righteousness and justice, whose one of his least favorite sins is lying, or any form of deception. Jesus Christ himself coined the term hypocrite. Like, why would God, why would the Heavenly Father write a book that would just, be up for interpretation, and only parts of it were meant to be taken seriously, and other parts were just kind of like, fun stories? It doesn't make sense. And like I've said before, people will be like, oh, the Bible contradicts itself, because there's all sorts of murder and rape and all sorts of horrible things, blah blah blah. And it's the Old Testament is an historical account. We're not supposed to strive to be like any of these people. Like, Noah is a good example. He was pure in his lineage, meaning that he didn't he didn't have a drop of Nephilim blood in him, but he wasn't really a great guy. Like, I think the whole thing with him and Ham, I think it was Ham, where Noah got a daytime drunk and passed out naked in his tent, and his son Ham found him and got another one of his brothers, and they backed in facing the other way to cover him with a blanket, to spare him the shame of being naked. And Noah, upon waking, was furious, and he cast Ham out and cursed him. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that was a cool thing of Noah to do. Do I think that reflects poorly upon God? No. Noah did it. Do I think all some of the crap that's said in a Leviticus is great? No. I don't think you should be able to beat a slave within an inch of their life, and within 2 days have them be okay, and then everything's fine. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with you being able to have a slave either. So does that mean the Bible's bad? No. It's a historical account of what the early Israelites were up to. The Old Testament is a historical account. It doesn't contradict what Jesus said. It's just what the Israelites were up to. King Solomon, total knucklehead, had over 100 wives. Some of them were were sorceresses from the east, and he got into black magic. And he got into Moloch and all sorts of dark crap. Should we be like Solomon? No. Solomon was later forgiven, but he had to do some crap. King David, same deal. Was a man of his passions, also had several wives, did some crappy things. Doesn't mean God is bad, doesn't mean the Bible is bad. It means the people of the era were a rough people. Life was rough back then. The earth wasn't made great because everyone was being ruled by, like, you know, stuff was the Nephilim weren't that far removed at that point. Some were still living, such as Goliath and his brothers. Whom David slew. You know, he wasn't just a tall guy. He was a giant. He was a Nephilim. They were around for you know, a decent amount of time, and some still are. They're just not. They're just the traits are more regressive. So they're not as obvious all the time. I mean, you'll see them more like, you know, like say like the Saudis. A lot of the Saudi princes are you know, not, you know, probably 9/10 human, maybe. You know, they're, you know, there's a lot of you know, that's why there's a lot of inbreeding within royalty. You know, like say like the Habsburgs, who weren't even, by the way, real royalty. The early royalties weren't these. I don't know. I don't want to get into all that. I'm honestly a huge fan of feudalism. I think what is it? I think it was the Incans. Was it the Incans? It's like the whole like the northern west coast of South America. That culture, they did it right. They moved around workers. Everyone grew stuff. You know, stuff was stored, and if anyone needed anything, they just got it. They went and got it. There were no stores. There was no anything. If you wanted jewelry, you made it. You know, if you wanted to adapt your clothing, you would. Because you were given clothing. Everyone was issued clothing, and everyone just worked. It was kind of, you know, from what I've read, it was kind of a perfect society. Other than, you know, they were worshiping their ancestors and stuff like that, which is what actually led to their downfall, because all their rulers would be mummified and then given land. So later rulers had to go out and conquer more area to try to claim more land, so that they could have, you know, their little burial kingdom, so they could get to their special heaven. And it just, you know, stretched their resources thin, and, you know, didn't work out well for them. But everything other than that was worked pretty well. Other than, of course, all the, you know, slave capture and all that. But anyway. No culture has been entirely perfect. But anyway, I don't even know how I got into that topic. I don't even know where that came from. I just want to know I don't want to be anywhere near the highway in an hour. Sorry, I got so off track. I don't even know what led me into the Incan Empire. Oh, yes, neo-feudalism. But anyway, yeah, I went and derailed myself so hard. I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. We're about 20 minutes in anyway. But yeah, questions, comments about anything you were curious about. Like I said, check out the mud flood thing. Just ignore all the Tartaria stuff, because unfortunately a lot of it's connected. It's one of those paths that isn't well enough explored by, you know, real people. Like I said, it was one of those things where I found a couple people that were, at least two people that were using fakey accents, and they were talking about Tartaria. So there's 100% a cover up with whatever the quote unquote mud flood buildings are. Was there a mud flood? I don't know. But the buildings and the star forts are a thing. Look into that. Interesting stuff. Oh yes, the Bible is to be taken literally. There are no contradictions. It is a historical account. Jesus says to do different things than what occurred in the Old Testament, because what happened during the Old Testament what was happening during then. And Jesus came to kind of straighten everything out, set the score, expose Satan, and offer us salvation. There's multiple layers to what Jesus Christ accomplished, and the second he died upon the cross, our victory was won. It's already game over. Never forget that. No matter how hard everything is, no matter how crappy everything is, we have already won. Stay strong in Jesus Christ. And I would just like to end on that. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day, and God bless you.